So, down in San Pedro, California, something really cool is happening inside this old, legendary building. Well, it's a fascinating experiment. They're trying to bring business back to where it belongs, face to face, by mixing old school history with some seriously cool tech. And it all boils down to the power of a simple handshake.
Okay, this quote just hits different, doesn't it? If you've ever tried to build something, you know exactly this feeling. That endless grind of Zoom calls where you just know, you can feel it, that everyone on the other side is just checking their email. It's that digital burnout, right? You're supposedly connected to everyone all the time, but you don't actually feel connected to anyone.
And that really gets to the core of it all. We just weren't meant to build empires all by ourselves. I mean, the modern startup journey can be so lonely. It's you, in your sweatpants, maybe pitching this world-changing idea to your cat. And look, your cat is great, but big ideas, they need more than that. They need energy, they need feedback, they need actual, real, human interaction to catch fire.
So the solution isn't just, hey, get out of the house. It's way more deliberate than that. It's about creating what the folks behind this project call collision. And that's such a great word for it. It's that necessary friction, that energy, that little spark that just happens when creative people are actually in the same room, bouncing ideas off each other.
And that is where the playground comes in. This is the spot. It's set up in the old, historic JC Penney building, and they've totally reimagined it to be like the new heartbeat of San Pedro. The whole place is designed from the ground up to do one thing: create that collision we were just talking about.
A great way to understand what this place is to talk about what it isn't. This is not your typical stuffy antique mall where you're afraid to touch anything. And it's not some sterile, generic food court either. Nope. Think of it more as a living, breathing space. It's kinetic, it's always changing, and it's filled with this really cool curated mix of pop-ups from local creators and brands.
Okay, so this gets us to the first big idea behind the playground. It's like rule number 1. Before you can even think about building a global online brand, you first have to nail the hyper-local physical. What does that mean? It means it all starts right here, with a real in-person connection. It starts with a handshake.
So what does that actually feel like for someone starting a business? Well, it means you're finally out of the garage and on the main floor. This is where you get to test out your elevator pitch on real, live humans, not just your bathroom mirror. It's where you might just bump into your next collaborator. You get to feel the energy of the street. It's business boiled down to its most basic, most powerful form.
But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole thing isn't just about going back to the good old days. No way. They have this huge respect for the building's history for sure, but their vision, it's pointed straight at the future.
And this phrase, 1922 meets Blade Runner, just nails it. Picture this. You're standing in this building that's been around for 100 years. You see all the classic brick, the old architecture, and then you look up, and what you see is something you would never expect to see there.
And when I say unexpected, I mean massive. We're talking about a digital wall that is 30 feet wide. 30! It completely changes the entire vibe of this historic place. It's a huge, bold move.
It's called the Monolith, and its job is actually pretty simple but brilliant. It's not just a giant TV. Think of it as a bridge that connects all the handshakes and sales happening right here on the floor with the big wide world of digital storytelling.
So how does that bridge actually work? What does it do? Probably the best way to wrap your head around it is with a simple analogy, one that perfectly connects the market floor to that giant screen up there.
Okay, imagine the whole market is like a local sports stadium. Down here on the floor, that's the field. The game is that face-to-face commerce we've been talking about, the handshake, the conversation, someone buying a product. Now the Monolith, that's the Jumbotron. So you see the action happen live right in front of you, and then you look up and see this amazing, high-quality story about the very person you were just talking to. And that's how you turn a random passerby into a real superfan. Because now they don't just see a product, they see the person, they see the passion behind it.
And this whole setup leads to another really crucial idea. The market isn't just for selling stuff. It's basically a living, breathing content farm. Every single conversation, every sale, every interaction, it's all raw material. It's fuel for a much bigger story. So think about what's happening up on the playground floor. Just real life, right? You might meet someone who turns out to be an amazing collaborator. Maybe you sell out of your brand new product in like 2 hours, or you get that one piece of customer feedback that changes everything. And here's the magic.
Those moments don't just vanish into thin air, because right downstairs, connected to the whole market, is what they call the engine room, a bunch of media studios. So that person you just met, you can literally walk downstairs and record a podcast episode together right then and there. That amazing feeling of selling out? Grab a camera and film a quick raw reaction for your social media. It creates this perfect seamless loop between real life and creating content.
And really, this quote just wraps it all up perfectly. The whole model is built on this foundation of being proudly local, of real face-to-face community, but, and this is the key, it uses all this incredible tech and media to launch those local stories out to a global audience. The local and the global. You can't have one without the other here. Which kind of leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? This whole idea was born right here in San Pedro. But the core principles, fighting that loneliness, creating that collision, bridging the gap between physical and digital, those ideas could work anywhere. It really makes you stop and think, what beautiful, empty, old building in your hometown is just sitting there, waiting for its own Blade Runner twist?